we learned how to create a folder and a subfolder. This is the folder that we created the last time. And so let me open it. Now we have a folder, another folder inside this try folder. So the other folder in it is what try2. That is what we call the subfolder. Okay, we have a file2 in it. Okay. It is also very important to note that when renaming a file, you should use the appropriate names so that it makes it easier for you to retrieve them. For instance, I want to create a new file. I right-click on a blank space here in the folder. Then I select new. Then I create a Word document. So I want to rename it. You understand? The naming should reflect the exact document or the exact content of the document I have worked with or I'm about to work with. Do you understand? So for instance, the first application for employment. This is your application. Now, so the file name can go like application for employment or application letter. Do you understand? So let me say I'll put the application there or application letter. Then I enter. I want to also create CV. So I right click and then select Word document. The renaming should be what? CV or curriculum vitae. Do you understand? Okay. If you are able to give the appropriate names like this to the files, it makes it easier for you to be able to retrieve them in the future so that it doesn't conflict. You don't have to open the file first before you see the content, and then that would waste your time greatly. For instance, I want to create another file called test2. I want to create another file called test3. Then I create another file called test4. Okay, so which of these files in the future, maybe today, after renaming the files, I know what the contents are, but maybe tomorrow or tomorrow next, or maybe I try to retrieve this file later in the future. It will be difficult because I wouldn't know the content of these files. I'm supposed to open them first for me to see the content before I will know the content of it. I hope you understand. But if you're able to give a clear indication of the names like this is your CV. You have outlined your CV, you've documented your profile and everything in it. You don't have to open the file first before you get the content of it. I hope you understand. So these are some of the tidbits on how to handle your files and folders. Let's create 2 or 3 different folders too here. So I want to create another file, but a different application, maybe Excel. I'll say, okay, so I have a Excel document here, maybe church dues.
Please come in. Good morning, dear. Good morning. How are you feeling today? Thank you. A bit better.
Okay, so I have an Excel file called church dues. I'll create a different one called maybe staff allowance. I have a different one called maybe payslip. Okay. Now, I have folders here. Sometimes it is important that in order not to make your folder congested, one of the reasons why, one of the reasons how you can organize your files and folders is you create specific documents for specific folders. You understand? So for instance, all these files here are Excel files. So you can decide that, okay, I'll rename one of these folders and say, these are Excel files. I hope you understand. So I can move all Excel files into it. So you know how to move files into folders. You just left click and hold on the document. Then you drag it onto the folder. Then you release it. Then it drops in it. So you click, you drag onto the folder, then you release it, then it drops in it. I can also decide that I would put all these Word files into another folder I called Word files. So I click and hold. I click and hold. I click, then I drag into it. I click, then I drag into it. Okay, but I'm doing it one after the other for you to be able to get a grasp of it. This one by one I'm doing, I can equally select all. How do I select all these files? I can select them by clicking and holding on an empty space here. So I click and hold. Then I drag over the documents. Can you see it as selected all? Let me do that again. So instead of selecting them one after the other, this is a selected document. This is a selected document. How do you identify a selected document? A selected document is identified by the highlights. You see that it has highlighted the document for you. Only this document, test 4, has been highlighted, and it means that test 4 has been selected. So let me place the pointer on, let me select CV. You realize that the selection has moved from test 4 to CV. It means that CV has been what? Selected. Let me move it onto application. Application has been selected, which means that I can work with application letter. I hope you understand. Now, I want to select all 4 documents at the same time. So I click on an empty space here. I click and hold, then I drag it over the documents, then I release it. So I have selected all 4 documents. The same way I drag them one by one into the Word files folder, I can click and hold on one. You understand? So now Windows is telling me that you see the 4 there. It means that I have selected 4 documents and I am about moving them into the Word folder, Word files folder. So when I place it on it and it highlights the Word folder, I can release it. You understand? So I release it. That means is moving everything into the word folder. Is that clear? This is also another way you can organize your files and folders. So you see that on my desktop here, everything here looks clumsy. You understand? Everything here looks clumsy, and it is not the best. If I want to look for a particular file, I must go through the files here and folders one by one, and look through before I'll be able to see the document I'm looking for. I hope you understand. But if I'm able to organize my files like this, you can do same for access. So for instance, I go to new here, then I select access, this access file. So let's say this one is employee database. So this employee, let's say I have another file called church leaders. I have another access file called what? Access file called maybe Susu. Susu lenders. Okay. Then I decide to rename one of the folders here as what? Access file. So I right click on it again, go to the rename, then I choose access. Okay. So now let me use the third option that we use instead of selecting them one by one. Who is there now? Okay, so I select all three files, then I drag them into the access files folder, then I release it.